Want to secure a cloud security job in record time? Well, here's the 6-step roadmap that's going to get you started and stop you from feeling overwhelmed. My name's AJ. I've been in cybersecurity for the last 9 years, and on this channel we teach all things cybersecurity for beginners. So let's get into it. So first of all then, you want to lay the foundation. So you want to be starting with one cloud platform. You don't want to be trying to learn all of them. Now, the most popular out there these days are Microsoft's Azure, Amazon's AWS, and Google's cloud platform. For the basis, at least at the start when you're learning anyway, just pick one platform before you try and move into the others, and you want to master one first. For the basis of this video, we're going to go through Azure and Microsoft Azure, which is becoming a lot more popular. AWS is likely one of the most popular. Microsoft Azure just behind, and then I believe Cloud's Google platform then is coming up in third place. So they are catching up with AWS. Microsoft Azure seems to be becoming more popular. So you won't go wrong with either one, but you want to just pick one to start with. So for Azure then, this is a similar pathway that you can kind of take in terms of their certifications. So the Azure fundamentals, so you want to build your fundamentals, start to understand Azure. Something like the AZ900 is very good for this. Then you can look to move into maybe SC900, where it's going to be more about security and compliance and identity fundamentals. And ultimately, what you're going to be doing with these two certifications is just build your foundations in Microsoft Azure itself. And it's very important that you do this before you start to move into kind of more of the advanced certifications, and you want to be taking your time going through, starting to understand the fundamentals, because this is what's going to give you that great foundation to actually understand how to secure Microsoft Azure. So next up then, and hugely important, is getting practical hands-on experience with Microsoft Azure, setting up your own home lab in Microsoft Azure, setting up some VMs, setting up some instances. These are the kind of things that you want to be doing to get that practical experience, and you can build it off the fundamentals. Everything that you've learned in the fundamentals, you can start to put into practice here. You can use an Azure free account as well. They offer $200 in free credits to be used within the first 30 days. There's also other services which are free. Some of these could be subject to change, so be careful when you enter your credit card details, for example, because you may get charged for services that you are using that you didn't know weren't free. So you want to be setting up your own home lab. Another thing you can do as well, so you can get access to the Azure free trial. There's also Microsoft Sentinel, which is one of the security solutions that Microsoft Azure offers, and they also offer a 30-day free trial for this as well. So getting some experience with Microsoft Sentinel is going to help you get more into that kind of cloud security and cybersecurity analyst mindset, but also it's going to help you build those skills for becoming a cloud security engineer and maybe more of a cybersecurity analyst. And you can see here, this is a free trial, Microsoft Sentinel, free for the first 31 days. Always be very careful when you're setting up free accounts in cloud resources, because you're going to have to enter your credit card details, and if you haven't set up something correctly, you could ultimately end up getting charged. Usually it's not a lot, it depends on what services you're setting up, but do be careful. But I can't stress how important enough practical experience is when it comes to getting a job. So next up then, to be able to showcase the skills that you're learning through your practical home lab and through the kind of fundamental certifications, you want to make sure that your resume and your CV is enhanced. So this is actually mine, and I recommend using a skills-based resume or CV. The reason for that is it allows your skills to stand out even when your experience lacks. So if you are interested in getting a copy of my resume, there's a link in the description to join our free cybersecurity community. And as you can see here, this is our community. When you join, you'll be presented with this screen. We've got 6,600 other members in here. And if you come in here and you type in resume, you'll see my resume and CV template is in here. So you can get this for absolutely free. And this just shows you the template that I've used over the years. So I've obviously redacted a lot of the information, the personal information in here, but everything else in here should allow you to understand what can help to have a resume when you're applying for those jobs. So this is just personally what's helped for me. It's also helped other people that I've created resumes and CVs for as well, to be able to showcase their skills. I know people will do everything differently, but this has personally worked for me over the years, and it's working for other people that I've helped to get into cybersecurity as well. So you'll get different opinions on different CVs, but ultimately you just want to use one that works. This has worked for me, and skills-based resume and CV is one that I recommend. So definitely, if you want to get access to this, you know how to join the community with the link in the description. Once you've started to build those fundamentals, you're getting some practical hands-on experience, you're starting to understand what you want your CV and resume to look like. You want to start to get more advanced with your training. So you've looked into the AZ900, SC900. You likely want to then look into the AZ500. So don't go straight away and paying for these certifications. You want to first make sure that you're actually enjoying it. If you don't have the money to pay for it as well, you can actually go over to the Microsoft website and you can review a lot of the content in here to be able to get an idea of what is actually in each one of these certifications. So a lot of this you could start to try and learn on your own as well, without actually paying for the certification. But the thing with getting a certification is that it does help to kind of boost your CV and your resume. But to start with, I'd recommend just going onto the Microsoft Learn website, checking out each one of these certifications, starting to review exactly what they're going to be teaching you. Make sure that you do enjoy it. At the end of the day, you want to go into something that you're actually going to enjoy and actually be able to stick to. And like I said, it's better to always look at the free content first before you actually decide to pay for anything. So as you always want to get more advanced, because you're always going to have to keep upskilling once you've got the fundamentals. And this goes the same for the practical experience. All of the theory that you're going to be learning in these more advanced certifications, you also want to make sure you're putting into practice as well. So it's always important to make sure that you're always pushing and getting more advanced, because being more advanced is what's actually going to make you more desirable for employers when they're reviewing your CV and your resume and they're actually looking to employ you. Then if you are looking to pursue these certifications, for example, once you go to AZ500, you can then look into something like the SC100. If you want to go into more cloud security and cloud engineering, then likely that's one route you want to go into. Also, if you're looking to go more into kind of the cybersecurity, security operations center, as well as kind of a cloud security role, then this is also a good certification. And if you're looking to go into the cloud security and maybe the more kind of access management side, then this identity and access administrator would also be a good one, which is the SC300. SC400, again, I don't know too much about that certification, but I would focus on learning the AZ500, likely going into SC100, and then deciding if you want to go down the kind of more security operations side, or if you want to go more into the kind of identity and access management side. So when you're starting out, remember I said just to focus on one platform, and I still stick by this. But when you start to build up those fundamentals, you've got comfortable with one of the platforms, you understand the fundamentals, you've got more advanced, you've got some practical experience. There's nothing wrong with expanding your horizon and looking at the other two cloud platforms that are available. The reason for this is that sometimes companies do run multiple cloud platforms, and it can often be good to be able to switch into both of them. And to be honest, once you've learned one of them, the only thing that really changes is that each provider names certain technologies, for example, is usually very similar across each one. But ultimately, just when you're starting out, focus on one. But then once you've got comfortable with that one, you can look to expand your horizon into the other areas, as this will ultimately help you increase the chances of the jobs that you can go for. And then you can look to go for jobs for specific AWS. You can go for jobs then where companies are looking for specific AWS or maybe GCP rather than just Azure itself. But when you're starting out, focus on one and then look to expand your horizon after. So next up then, some common mistakes that you want to try to avoid. First of all, don't just learn the theory. Like I mentioned, you want to do the theory to build your fundamentals, to get more advanced, but what's going to get you hired is the actual practical skills. Make sure that you're building your own home lab in Azure, whichever cloud platform you choose. Build your home lab and get some experience there. You also then want to expand your job search, so you don't just want to look for cloud security jobs, because ultimately you want to be looking for the skills, because there are many jobs out there that will require cloud-based skills or cloud security-based skills, but their name in the title won't be cloud security engineer. So let me just show you what that looks like. So as you can see here, IT solutions architect, for example, is requiring some cloud-based skills. Here, junior cloud security engineer. So this one is a typical job title that will require the skills that you're actually going to build. But then, like this, data center technician, likely they've got would require cloud solution skills. So what you want to be doing, even cybersecurity engineer, you want to be going through these job descriptions and reviewing the skills that you have and try to understand which jobs you can actually go for. Because if you just narrow it towards only cloud security engineer or cloud admin, for example, then you might end up not actually being able to apply for as many jobs as you actually think. So it's always important to, when you're applying for jobs, you can try to search by the skill as well, rather than just the job title. So thirdly then, don't focus on what others are doing. You might see other people who have started learning AWS, for example, and they may be getting some success there. Stick with what you're doing. You can see in the market that Microsoft Azure or even GCP are well-recognized cloud platforms, and companies are all moving to these platforms as well. So don't focus on what others are doing. Just focus on what you need to do. Stick to your plan, and then you will ultimately increase your chances of success. Because if you start looking into what other people are doing, you're just going to keep bouncing back and forth with different plans, different pathways, and then ultimately you're not going to succeed. Finally then, not being consistent with job applications. Even myself, when I've been applying for jobs, so I work as a senior cybersecurity analyst, over the years I've failed multiple interviews, multiple job applications, even with experience. And you have to be consistent with job applications, and it might not be the fact that your CV isn't good enough. Sometimes that is the case, that you need to improve your resume, but it could be the case that the recruiter just hasn't seen your resume or CV, or your application hasn't gone through correctly. There could be issues along the way. You want to be consistent. You want to apply to as many jobs as possible. I've read through X and on Twitter that you should be applying to at least 500 to 1,000 jobs. So with that being said, just be consistent with the job applications. So to conclude then, you know that you need to build up your fundamentals in one specific cloud platform to start with. You also know that you need to get practical experience by building a home lab in that specific cloud platform to make sure that you can get that hands-on experience to be able to write that on your resume and your CV. You also know how to craft a better digital identity with a better resume and a better CV using the skills-based template. You also now know how important it is to push to those more advanced levels. So whether it be more advanced certifications, more advanced learning, all of this needs to be done to be able to push you up and make you more desirable when it comes to applying for those jobs. And you understand that once you've actually mastered one cloud platform, you'll be able to expand your horizon and start to master the others as well. And you know some of the common mistakes that you need to avoid when it comes to trying to get into cybersecurity, and more specifically cloud security. Now, if you're not sure if cloud security is actually for you, go and watch this video next, where I show you the top 5 highest paying skills to get a job in cybersecurity in 2025. Thank you for watching. I'll see you over there.